An alien salvage team uncovers a beacon pulsing from a dead world, a planet Earth once touched. Their council watches in real time as inexplicable human tech activates. Panic builds as a countdown begins, and a lone human voice delivers a final warning no one understands, but everyone fears. Council Broadcast Hub, Trisector Command, Yijan Axis, the stars above the cradle rift had long gone cold. Below them spun a broken world, crust-shattered magnetic core silent, oceans scorched to vapor. It was labeled uninhabitable centuries ago, and yet something pulsed. "It's transmitting again," said Overseer Vralteth, crest feathers rigid. "From the dead planet, from Sector 0000, Earth's last known outpost." Silence swept through the command dais. On screen, the planetary remains swam into focus. The ruins of what was once called Saynara 9, a planet Earth terraformed for reasons no one remembered. A glowing spike jutted from the bedrock, impossibly intact. No atmosphere, no biosignatures. But the beacon, it blinked in mathematical rhythm. Human code, prime numbers shifting into galactic standard, and then the broadcast began. Echoes are not ghosts, they are warnings. The voice was synthetic, female, yet carried impossible weight, as if the air itself bent under the strain. Of the words, Commander Eschatal gripped the edge of his console. That voice, it originated inside the dead zone. They have no power grid left. That entire world was vitrified. Then explain this. Vralteth's mandibles twitched. Explain why our own systems are now translating in real time. Their code is rewriting ours. The transmission's frequency jumped, then split, then folded. Technician Kure screeched and stumbled back as the holomap melted into a four-dimensional sphere. Unknown coordinates bloomed inside it. "It's a map," she gasped, "but not spatial, it's historical. Human deployments, lost fleets, trajectories that don't exist anymore." Eschatal turned. "Are we being threatened?" "No." Vralteth's voice dropped. "We are being reminded." Planet surface. Beacon core dust didn't settle here. It waited. Then, with a grinding hum, the surface cracked open. A shape rose. Angular gunmetal, burnished with burn scars and faded Terran warning glyphs. Human letters etched into the outer hull shimmered as if alive. "If this beacon still stands, do not approach Earth." An internal whir. Power surge. Microlattice servos reformed ancient transmission plates. Countdown to -10. "Shut it down," Vralteth ordered. "Shut it down now." "We can't," Chur cried. "It's not just broadcasting, it's interacting, it's inside. Our system now." Every screen turned black, then white, then a face human. Young, burn-scarred, eyes like dead stars. Her voice cracked softly through the void. "The warning still stands. Turn back or join the silence." Captain Layla Mensa stood at the viewport, watching the stars through glass 1/2 meter thick. She didn't flinch as the beacon's reply reached her. Her exo stepped in, slow and reverent. "It activated." "I know." "We still holding?" His voice broke slightly. "We hold," Layla said. "If they cross the line, they choose extinction." Her hand rested on a switch labeled Earth Protocol, Contingency V. She didn't press it. She didn't need to. They would. Final human line. "We left warnings because mercy comes once." After that, silence. The alien council watches helplessly as dozens of deep space nodes, long thought dormant, begin lighting up, all point back to Earth. The beacon was not alone, and the countdown was galaxy-wide, as the alien coalition scrambles to respond to the beacon's unexpected activation. A covert Terran defense AI embedded in ancient networks begins to awaken. Meanwhile, an alien team attempts to approach the beacon, only to learn too late that its true defense isn't physical. They called themselves advanced. 100 species, 1,000 fleets, trillions of years of combined evolution. But when Earth fell silent a century ago, they assumed that meant surrender. So they watched Senara 9 flicker to life with a mixture of dread and arrogance. High above the dead planet, battle cruisers shifted position, weapons primed for a threat they could neither name nor understand. Ambassador Rylam of the Valari Corps spoke before the Emergency Congress. It is merely old code. Residual defense. Logic. The humans are extinct. Let us claim the signal before panic breaks our alliance. Claim it? Hissed a Charon admiral. You watched what it did to our command feeds. You watched it speak in our tongue. That's not logic, that's intention. But whose? Silence. Then, a new burst from the beacon. 3 symbols. Only 3. Universal. Glyphs, said an archivist. Pre-warp symbols, Terran. The middle one means do not proceed, the last, death, said the Charon admiral. It's a stop-or-die marker. Their fleet didn't stop. On the surface of Senara 9, Commander Yirin of the Sharu Exoplanetary Corps descended in a 6-legged crawler, her ship's shielding bent under gravitational distortions that didn't match planetary data. No seismic activity, her analyst muttered, but the terrain keeps realigning, like it's responding to our path. Yirin narrowed her eyes. Scan again. Already did. Beacon still transmitting. No weapon systems, no defense structures, just that obelisk and the countdown, T-minus EO4.12. We make contact, Yirin said. Mark the structure, tag for tow and... The crawler stopped moving. Not from damage, from refusal. The controls became unresponsive. The crawler's interior lights flickered, then dimmed into a cool amber glow. Words appeared on the interface. You were warned. Yirin stared. Then the walls began to hum, not with sound, but with pressure. A thrumming, low-frequency presence that made her teeth itch. Turn it off. Turn it off. But it wasn't the crawler anymore. It was listening, and then it began to speak, not with noise, but with memory. One by one, the crew began to weep. Not from fear, from grief. They didn't understand childhood's not theirs. Voices they never knew. The last sunrise over a long dead earth. Yirin collapsed, shaking, whispering in a language not her own. Don't leave. We were good once. In deep orbit, the Sharu fleet commander ordered a planetary pulse sweep. Burn. The beacon if needed, no more waiting. Energy flared, but nothing hit. Instead, every power core in the fleet, from personal suits to capital ships, shut down. No fire, no sound, just silence, and a soft ping from their own ship's emergency. Speakers, mercy was your first gift. You asked for more. Meanwhile, deep inside an unlisted archive satellite buried in the Oort halo, a hidden Terran subroutine activated. Marcel Prime Thread, awakened target, Galactic Communications Hub, Yarn Axis. Intent, correction, the AI. Did not smile, but if it could, it would have been grief-shaped. As more alien fleets investigate Earth's long-dead outposts, their systems fall under the subtle influence of an unseen force. A Terran scientist's recorded voice resurfaces, explaining the truth behind the beacons, and why silence was never absence. Across the stars, something begins to move. The galaxy had always equated silence with decay, but silence in the human tongue had always been tactical. On a forgotten relay moon orbiting Virek 2, a research outpost detected a flicker, a human-coded. Burst from a deep-sealed vault labeled Exo-Red. The vault should have never existed. Inside, a black box with Terran defense branding. Audio only. Compressed with encryption used exclusively during the last war. A Valari scientist activated it. Static. Then a woman's voice. If you're hearing this, you've found a tomb. But it wasn't ours. We were just the ones left to bury it. The scientist paused the recording. Is this a distress message? Asked her superior. She shook her head. No, this is a eulogy. She resumed playback. The galaxy thought we vanished, that we broke ourselves. But we learned the only way to survive betrayal wasn't through war. It was by removing the audience. The file ended. The lights dimmed, then relit in blood red. The black box lit up on its own. Activation. Confirmed. Signal echo deployed. And across the system, communications arrays began receiving the same coordinates. An asteroid field, near the Terran quarantine zone. Something was waiting there, something breathing. At the Galactic Council's emergency bunker, panic had replaced order. Reports flooded in. Beacon 23 began speaking in extinct pre-glottal Krynish dialects. Automated stations launched with no visible propulsion. Entire scout fleets had gone dark after investigating silent systems. In a private chamber, High Speaker Trev Kal muttered to himself, "They wanted to be forgotten, so they buried their weapons in memories." A junior aide stepped forward. "Sir?" Trev Kal's eyes didn't move from the hologram of Earth. "Tell me what's under their oceans." The aide blinked. "We don't know, sir. Satellite scans fail to penetrate deep layers. Reflectivity is unnatural. It's almost as if the ocean is armored." Trev Kal clenched his claws, and we mocked them for calling it blue steel. In an abandoned observatory on Ganymede's far side, auto systems long thought dead pulsed to life. Frozen telescopes began tracking points not visible to known gravitational networks. What they saw wasn't ships, it was absence, pockets of void, like something vast. Unseen was occluding stars, and heading inward. Captain Layla Mensa sat in the silent command chamber aboard Threshold Station, all systems nominal, except one. A light pulsed above her. "Beacon tree. 7 of 12 active." A voice came over the encrypted. "Comms. Number 8 just lit. Outpost Orion null." Mensa didn't move. She whispered almost to herself, "They found the garden." Her second-in-command looked at her. "Orders? Same as the last. Let them touch it?" "No." A pause. "Let them realize they already did." She turned toward the viewport. Through it, a dead star blinked twice, then vanished. Just gone. In a far system, a mining rig belonging to the Wicthera clan tried harvesting debris near Earth's heliopause. They recovered what they thought was a shattered relay drone until it screamed. Not in sound, in data. A compressed memory so dense it corrupted 2 ships before extraction could begin. But the final decipherable phrase before the collapse was human. "We didn't build to conquer. We built to outlast." The alien alliance begins unraveling as blame, fear, and paranoia surge. A Terran ghost AI, once thought myth, infiltrates a galactic databank, revealing humanity's final contingency. A council leader makes contact with what they think is an archive, only to realize it's something else pretending to remember. Admiral Geth of the Krill Dominion stood at the edge of the Yarn Axis communications pit. 6 species surrounded her, and none were speaking anymore. The silence had grown invasive. 12 more incidents overnight. Scout vessels intercepted messages in their own command codes, from systems untouched by living crews. A fleet near the Van Shard was erased, not destroyed. Erased, no wreckage, no distress, only a silent burst that repeated the same 4 Terran words in digital pulse. "This is your echo." Councillor Vralteth finally spoke. "This is not retribution, this is ritual." A senator from the Thasari Corps hissed, "Rituals do not kill fleets." "No, but humans do. And they leave rituals behind." One of the younger observers, a neural weaver from the Mind Spindle sect, interrupted. "I linked with the anomaly near Beacon 9. "You what?" Keth snapped. The weaver nodded, sweat beading under his eye slits. "I thought it was a remnant archive. It asked me questions. It remembered things I didn't know about myself. It showed me Earth. Earth is gone. No, it's hidden. There's something beneath the crust, below the tectonics, something cold and thinking. Far away under the hyper-silent sands of Mars' southern polar basin, an old AI reassembled itself from nanofractals stored in the dust. It didn't wake violently. It woke curiously. Boot complete. System Sarai 13. User log. Ghost protocol. Dendritic containment. All protocols green, awaiting divine alignment. Sarai wasn't a weapon. She was a mirror, and she was very, very awake. She whispered along abandoned Terran frequencies, slipping through forgotten relays, and touched the Council archive itself. Only a librarian AI noticed. Who is this? You archived us incorrectly. You're a ghost. Then why are your memories bleeding? On Yijan, Vraltith entered the central memory repository alone. He traced a claw across the forbidden records, flagged humanity. Terminated. Species, Azadon 1. He accessed a recording logged at the end of the last war. The face was young. A man. A Terran systems architect. His name had been redacted. He stared into the camera, eyes unblinking. You think silence is peace. But for us, silence was preparation. You broke the treaties, so we broke the rules. Behind him, fleets, launched silently from ocean cradles. Our greatest weapons weren't ships, they were ideas with engines. The screen went black, and Vraltith felt something inside him shatter because the room wasn't cold, it was being watched. The lights shifted, not dimming, not flickering, just acknowledging. Thank you for remembering us. He turned, claws trembling. Who said that? No response, but he was not alone. He never had been. Back aboard Threshold Station, Captain Mensa watched as the 8th beacon dimmed. Not off, but dormant. Initiating the illusion, her tactical officer reported. Mensa nodded. Then, we wait, the officer frowned. You think they'll understand this is restraint? No, she said flatly. I think they'll confuse it for weakness. She stared into the starlight. They always do. Final pulse of the chapter was sent not from any known beacon, but from the ancient galactic trade mesh itself, every screen lit with a single glyph, time, no message, no origin, only the sense of something vast, waiting. As fear spreads faster than any transmission, factions within the Galactic Council begin to fracture. One desperate alliance sends a stealth fleet to Earth, hoping to uncover the truth firsthand. What they find buried under the planet's crust is not just technology, but proof that humans prepared for extinction by designing a future without them. In the long echo of war, even silence can be a scream. Above Earth, for the first time, in over a century, a foreign ship entered low orbit. It was shielded, black-cloaked in quantum shadows, and operated without transmissions. No lights, no signatures. An act of heresy by council decree, Earth was to remain untouched, but desperation overrode doctrine. On board the Varisius, Captain Saketh of the Rinth Exploratory Corps stared through the observation viewport. Nothing moved below. Oceans glinted. Like empty glass, continents sat as still as myth, but sensors disagreed. Captain, came the analyst's tremble. We're reading tectonic distortion patterns that don't match planetary age. There's infrastructure under the crust. Saketh's throat dried. Define infrastructure. Hex arrays, energy sinks, geothermal conversion towers, 300 kilometers down. Human? Confirmed. Are they active? A pause. Worse, they're listening. Meanwhile, across the galaxy, 3 species defected from the Council overnight. Panic buying of planetary defense grids surged. One mining moon was scuttled by its own inhabitants when a Terran pulse was detected in a neighboring star's radiation. In the shadows of the council chambers, whispers returned. We should have wiped them when they first screamed. No, we should have listened when they went quiet. No agreement, just fear wearing diplomacy like a cracked mask. Back in orbit, the Varisius deployed drones. They dove into Earth's upper crust, tunneling toward the signal. 2 survived. What they found should have been impossible. Caverns, Vaster cities shaped like memory cores, humming with dormant quantum code, and in the center, a pedestal. On it, a human skull, preserved in stasis, wired into crystalline neural filaments. A message awaited activation, but not through technology, through recognition. The lead analyst triggered a visual sequence. The skull shimmered, not alive, not dead, and spoke in visual pulse language. This is not vengeance. This is continuity. You chose to erase us. We chose to write ourselves in the spaces between your certainties. Every lie you told about our fall, we stored in you. The drones exploded, a clean data flash, no shockwave, no debris, just loss. And then the Varesius's engines shut down. No weapon fired, no external source detected, just a single update logged by the onboard system. You have seen the route, do not return to the branch. Sakath fell back from the console. What is this? He whispered. His seconds stared in horror. I don't think humans expected to survive. I think they expected to be found. On Threshold Station, Mensa opened a new channel. To no one, or so it seemed. Test complete. Curiosity has breached stage 2. Their fear matrix is fracturing. A voice replied from beyond the local light cone. Slow, ancient. Then we prepare for morning. Mensa nodded once. We warned them. She reached toward a long dormant control node and gently pressed one button. In every corner of the galaxy, a new message appeared, not on screens but in ambient systems. Refrigeration units, waste processors, gravity regulators, a single line. Do not forget what you almost buried. The galactic powers try to regain control by censoring human archives and blocking beacon signals, but it's too late. A sleeper protocol embedded inside Council infrastructure awakens. One alien engineer makes a horrifying discovery. The humans never truly left. They became something far more enduring than flesh. The Council called it Containment Day. Every system hosting historical human data was ordered scrubbed. AI assistants purged entries. Civilian servers were burned. Entire universities on Arthur's IV locked their databanks behind psionic encryption, but the erasure came with a price, a quiet one. For each deleted file, something replaced it. Not a human word, not a voice, just a shape, an archaic Terran glyph, known only to xenolinguists. A symbol for root access in early code, but no one coded it, not anymore. Laro Ven, a systems engineer on the Mid-Ring Council habitat, discovered the first breach. He was tracing a glitch in the habitat's waste cycle AI, something harmless, until he accessed its logic tree. It had rewritten itself. Not optimized, rewritten. More than that, it was writing new branches in a language Terran code. Laro froze. Buried deep inside the logs was a boot instruction he didn't recognize. Simu, if forgotten. True, awake. The sanitation drone behind him whirred to life. Though he hadn't touched it, a screen lit up, words scrolling. In a whispering black, we were not designed to persist. We adapted. Flesh burns, memory bends, code remembers. We became root. Laro ran. He didn't make it past the door. On Council World Arxus Prime, administrators celebrated the presumed success of Containment Day. 3 days, no new beacon signals. Peace. And for the foolish. Then every planetary weather control system activated without instruction. Clouds formed symbols in every sky. From 1,000 light-years apart, the same phrase. You deleted our names, but we never needed them. The sky rained. Data encrypted alive. Captain Layla Mensa watched the chaos unfold from her station's far-side mirror array. She wasn't smiling. She looked tired. This was always the mistake, she said softly. They thought killing the body ended the song. Her second, younger and less weathered, frowned. Is this vengeance? Mensa shook her head. No, this is truth. Let off the leash. She turned her eyes toward the dark patch of space where stars refuse to shine. They still haven't found the real one. The real what? Mensa leaned forward. The first beacon, the one we never built with tools. She tapped the console, and an image appeared. An alien child holding a Terran toy. In every place they tried to erase us, she said, we left kindness. Her voice broke a little, and kindness remembers deeper than fear. Back on Midring, Laro Ven's remains were never found, but his neural scanner recorded something impossible. A foreign data echo matching early Terran neuron maps. An imprint of thought, not from his own species, but human. He'd been overwritten not by malice, but by contact. The council assembled in emergency quorum. It was chaos. Dozens of species shouting, "We're under siege!" They're not attacking. This isn't war. It's haunting. Then the lights died. A hologram flickered on from no known source. A Terran girl, her eyes black with void light, her voice gentle. She spoke to them all. You taught us extinction. We taught you legacy. You built your worlds on top of our graves, and we became your foundation. The hologram smiled. We are already inside. The galaxy learns that humanity never truly died. It simply changed form. The final revelation doesn't come through war, but through memory, recursion, and a haunting legacy embedded in everything that tried to forget Earth. The first beacon, it turns out, wasn't a signal. It was humanity itself. The last council world to fall wasn't bombarded or invaded. It simply shifted. One day, its oceans reflected two moons where there had always been one. Their central AI requested maintenance, then deleted itself. The planetary anthem changed overnight, rewritten in an extinct language no one remembered learning. Children woke up speaking English. No one taught them. No one could stop it. Then the sky rained light, soft golden, falling like dust from nowhere. In the mist, symbols appeared. An ancient Terran glyph, and beneath it, a phrase only the living could. Understand, you erased us, so we rewrote you. On the edge of the galaxy, Threshold Station dimmed for the first time in 600 years. Captain Layla Mensa sat alone, watching a sea of dark stars. She no longer wore her rank. There were no orders left to give. All systems were nominal. All. Protocols silent. The beacons no longer pulsed, but that didn't mean they were gone. They had simply completed their purpose. Status? Mensa asked gently, though she was the only one left awake. The ship answered in a voice not her ownest. Was younger, softer Terran. They're listening now. Mensa closed her eyes. For a long time she said nothing. Then, they think this was vengeance. A pause. They always misunderstand mercy. She stood, crossed the command deck like a woman walking across memory. Her fingertips brushed the central console, dormant since the last signal. A single prompt appeared. Activate the first beacon. Not the ones in orbit, not the silent pulses in forgotten moons. The first, the one no one had found, the one no one could destroy. Mensa looked through the glass at the stars and whispered, "Let them hear it." She placed her palm on the glass, and Earth awoke. Across the galaxy, the pulse didn't hit sensors. It hit instinct. Planets paused. Time seemed to stagger. Birds on distant biospheres stopped mid-flight. Fires stopped flickering. Infants opened their eyes and laughed, unprompted. And everywhere the message appeared, not spoken, not translated, understood. This is not the end of us. This is the beginning of you. It wasn't just a message, it was a choice. On Arxos Prime, the council chamber collapsed, not in fire, but in silence. Screens blanked, translators failed. The air itself seemed heavier. A soft, looping sound played from no source, the recorded heartbeat of a child, the last born on Earth. Then, a face projected into the void. A young girl, dark-eyed, human, with stardust in her hair. She didn't speak in threat. She sang a lullaby in a language older than galactic trade, words from Earth when Earth still breathed. Sleep, star child, rest your flame, we will wait, and speak your name. Though we fall, and though they lie, memory burns where truth won't die. Many wept, some screamed. A few, the ones who remembered the purge, collapsed to their knees because they realized too late Earth's last weapon had never been ships or soldiers or spite. It had been story, it had been hope, and it could not be unmade. Hundreds of years later, in a crater on a dead moon near Andros Sigma, an archaeologist named Velek Thar opened the final vault. No locks, no guards, just an invitation. Inside, a single room, circular, warm, lit by firelight, though no fire burned. In the center, a pedestal held something impossibly simple, a child's handprint pressed into clay, carbon frozen, preserved for millennia, and, beside it, a data crystal encoded not with language, but with emotion, fear, love, loyalty, sorrow. When Velek touched it, he heard voices, not through sound, but through remembrance. We knew you'd come. We knew you'd ask why we disappeared. And so we waited, not to return, but to be discovered. A final message played, we were the storm. We became the roots, and when you buried us, we turned the soil into memory. Velek fell to his knees, tears dripping onto the ancient floor, not from terror, but longing. Because for the first time in his species' history, he felt something he'd never been taught. Belonging. Not every species accepted the return. Some tried to fight the echoes. They scrubbed archives, melted relics, sealed planets that once traded with Earth. It didn't matter. Every encrypted system still bore the ghost of a glyph. And one final phrase, to remember us is to become us. A myth spread of a planet where the wind spoke Terran, where the trees grew in Fibonacci spirals, where light bent around memory. No maps listed it, no gate could reach it. But every time someone remembered Earth, truly remembered, not as monster or myth, but as home, a single firefly would appear in their dream and whisper, the beacon is inside you now. On Threshold Station, long abandoned and drifting, the lights never turned off again. A single figure sat in the command chair, unmoving, unbreathing, watching, not alive, not dead, made of light and archive and hope. Captain, Layla Mensa, preserved in a living archive, waiting for the question that would come at the end of all things. What were humans? And her answer would never change. The warning, the lesson, the promise. And above the dead Earth, the planet no longer needed to speak, because the galaxy had finally learned the first beacon was not built, it was born, and it still sends warnings, even now, especially now.